Are you planning on going to Magic Kingdom, but are concerned that ride accessibility may be an issue? Today on Walt Disney World Adults Only, I'll talk about all the rides and attractions at Magic Kingdom and tell you about accessibility requirements for each. Welcome, Your Royal Highnesses. I'm Carol, and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today is the first of two videos discussing ride accessibility at Walt Disney World parks. Magic Kingdom has so many rides. I'm going to do that as one separate video, and then I'll do a second one with Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot all together. Have you ever really examined a guide map? I know I haven't, except to maybe look where a ride was located or a restaurant. I never really looked at it fully. However, I had to do so in planning this video, and I found tons of information that was very useful, especially on the right side of the opened out map. There's a legend describing what the symbols mean, as well as which rides have physical considerations with them. So it was really helpful in doing this video, and I think it would be helpful for you as well once you're in the parks. Now, this isn't a fun video, I'll be first to admit this, but I think it has a lot of valuable information, so please stick with me. I'm going to give you a heads up on transfer requirements, accessibility as far as what type of vehicle is accessible to that ride if you don't have to transfer. I'll talk about service dog as well, even though I did a video on service dogs and dogs at Disney in general, and if you're interested in seeing that, please check the link in the description below, but I thought I'd include it here just for completeness sake. And I'm also including rides that have height requirements. So there are actually 6 different variations of accessibility at Magic Kingdom, which really surprised me. I thought it was just sort of wheelchair scooter versus non-wheelchair scooter, but it's a little more in depth than that. I was surprised to find that some rides actually have you transfer from an ECV, otherwise known as a scooter, to a wheelchair, and then from the wheelchair to the ride itself. So if you have trouble transferring vehicles, you might want to avoid those types of rides. There are some rides that will allow a scooter all the way up. There are some that let you board with either a wheelchair or a ECV scooter, and there are some that you must be ambulatory, have to be able to walk to get on that ride or attraction. Those are Space Mountain and Pirates. So Space Mountain, you sort of could figure that the queue going up there is uphill. You have narrow areas, and the ride vehicle itself, even if you don't have mobility issues, can be challenging to get in and out of that vehicle. It also has a height requirement of 44 inches, so service dogs would not be allowed to ride, although there'd be a crate near the exit for your dog to wait for you while you rode the ride. And it's also one of those red triangle rides, which I'll talk about all the red triangle rides in just a little bit. Now, Pirates sort of is a surprise. You think it's not, one of a roller coaster ride. It's fairly easy ride. It's that boat type vehicle. But the problem is, if you've ever done the queue, there's the cobbled narrow walkways with some inclines and sharp switchbacks. So they avoid that, must transfer to a wheelchair, and then the wheelchair you then have to transfer to the ride vehicle itself. Then there's a group of rides that will allow either a scooter, ECV, or wheelchair to go up to the entrance before having to transfer to the ride vehicle. These include Haunted Mansion, Astro Orbiter, Barnstormer has a 35-inch height requirement, and Seven Dwarfs has a 38-inch height requirement. So service dogs would not be allowed on either of those two rides. Also included in this group are Dumbo and Mad Tea Party, and dogs are allowed to ride on those vehicles. There are several rides which require transfer from scooter to wheelchair, but then they can stay in the wheelchair for the actual ride or attraction. These include Magic Carpet, Prince Charming Regal Carousel, It's a Small World, Winnie the Pooh, Buzz Lightyear, and Journey of the Little Mermaid. None of these have a height requirement, so service dogs are welcome to ride all of these vehicles. Now, there are some rides that allow you to stay on your scooter or your wheelchair, so you don't have to transfer at all. So if transferring is daunting to you, these are rides that you could still ride at Magic Kingdom and have a wonderful day. These would include Jungle Cruise, Tiki Room, Mickey Philharmonic, Country Bears Jamboree. Also, we have Carousel of Progress, Hall of Presidents, Monsters Inc., Liberty Square Riverboat. So these are rides that have a lot of space, not a lot of turning required, so scooters are welcome and you don't have to transfer at all. There are 4 attractions that require you to be ambulatory and walk either through the queue or the attraction itself. Swiss Family Treehouse and Tom Sawyer's Island require you to be ambulatory because they're pretty much walking attractions, and there's a lot of uneven terrain and nooks and crannies to explore, so that one makes perfect sense. Now, People Mover, when you see it going by, you might think, that's a ride I could do and view a great area of Magic Kingdom. Unfortunately, the access and exit are very, very steep moving sidewalks. So you'd have to be able to walk up to them, and then it's a moving flat sidewalk to actually get on the actual vehicle. The 4th ride is also surprising, and that's Peter Pan's Flight. And you might say, well, isn't that sort of similar to Winnie the Pooh? The ride vehicles are sort of similar. But the problem is, Peter Pan's Flight is an airborne ride, hence the name Flight. And so you are up above looking at the scenes down below. And if there ever needed to be an evacuation, you would need to be able to climb down from that ride vehicle, and that would be very difficult. So ambulatory is required for that one. Service dogs are not allowed on that ride either, and it's the only ride that service dogs that are not allowed on that doesn't have a height requirement. Lastly, I want to talk about the red triangle rides. There are 4, 3 of which are the famous mountains. Space Mountain, which has a 44-inch requirement, and Big Thunder and Splash Mountain, which have a 40-inch height requirement. So again, no service dogs allowed, but there is a crate available to put the dog in while you ride the ride. The 4th is Tomorrowland Speedway, with a height requirement of 54 inches to ride it independently. The triangle is a warning for physical considerations, and only you and your physician can decide if that type of ride might be too much or safe for you. The triangles, if you look at the guide map, you're going to see this warning. As for me, I get motion sickness pretty easily, but I can ride all of these rides as long as I'm wearing a C-band. I don't even need Dramamine. There are only 4 rides in Magic Kingdom that have these physical considerations. So even if you skip them, you're going to have a pretty full day at Magic Kingdom. And if you don't mind transferring, you're going to have a really full day at Magic Kingdom, even if you have mobility issues. If you've been thinking about a trip to Disney World, but have been avoiding it because of mobility issues, I hope this video helped clarify those concerns. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. If you're not a member of our adult-only Facebook group, please join us there, where we have adult-centered discussions and there is no shaming for adults only going to Disney. In fact, we encourage it. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. We have videos and vlogs and they're all adult-centered, so there's lots of videos and vlogs out there, but ours are designed for those people who want an adult-only trip. So I think they're kind of special. And last but not least, remember, never grow up.